Hey, buongiorno, everyone. Another wonderful podcast. Thank you for following me, Espresso with Vinny. We have our usual toast. Start off the wonderful day. Little Vin. So, I want to talk about how people approach their dogs and spoil them. So, it's one thing that I'm very kind to Vinny and I love him and I give him back scratches and so forth. However, there's a big difference between spoiled. So spoiled means there's no accountability for anything that he does that I may not like, and I let him do it. If he does anything, I just say, it's okay. Don't worry. You're too cute. I can't take it anymore. I'm just going to just let you do what you want. Now, problem is eventually a spoiled dog does things that you really don't like. And then you're calling a behaviorist, a dog trainer, and you're frustrated. Where this leads to is eventually the human gets angry and then they explode. So what you have is this cycle of spoil, spoil, spoil. You're giving, the graph's going up. You just give to the dog, whatever the dog needs. And then in time, the dog just becomes desensitized and you say, okay, that's enough. No more. And the dog is on like this adrenaline of spoiled affection. And now what you're encountering is the dog says, don't tell me what to do. I'm used to always getting away with it. The human gets angry and now says, don't do it anymore, and starts yelling and like, I can't tolerate this. And I'm the boss and this is my house and you better listen to me. You can't jump on my child or on my mother. Fine. But now you have this graph that went up and now you punish and went down. You create the problem, then you punish the dog for it. Okay, this is cruel. Many people are doing this. And so this is the problem with inconsistent personalities with the dog. So you can't be constantly inconsistent with things. You have to be constantly working with your animal saying, hey, you just started to get up. I can see your knees bending. You're ready to jump. And I told you off and you got up anyway. I don't want this. I want a dog that says, okay, everything that I do, I can give him a hand signal. I can speak in a normal tone of voice and the dog listens. It's only going to come through repetition and consistency when you're dealing with the dog. So make sure that when you see a dog do something wrong, you're very consistent saying, no, I said stay right there. That was right next to the chair. If you move 2 feet, don't go, it's okay, he's so cute. 2 feet's good enough. You have to look at dog training as like you're trying to do a dog training competition, not to win the trophy. It's so not to frustrate the animal. You don't want to get on that graph where you spoil them and then you punish them for something you created as a foolish human. You have to take to the dog and be strict and say, I said stay there, I said sit, I said stay. The dog starts to stand up, make him sit again. Be more firm if they keep arguing with you and get up. Remember, you created the problem. But that doesn't mean you're going to walk around feeling guilty about it, saying I created the problem, because feeling guilty about it's not going to get you out of it. You're going to say, well, I hate to be punishing the dog when I created this problem. Remember to enforce rules at all times with your dog. And you have to forget about the fact that you made them spoil. It's too late. Now you have to push the animal to obey you. So don't go on this roller coaster. Very bad for the dog. Very common mistake I get from clients calling me. All right, so remember, competition attitude. Take the dog through the house, stay where they are. They can't move until you say get up. If you want them to walk next to your side, your left side, right where the front legs are at your left hip, do it. If the dog starts to go off and smell something, grab them, bring them to where you need them. If you have to walk around with a leash for weeks, do it. It'll pay off in the long run. Believe me, eventually you have an unleashed dog in everywhere you go. Can't put a time limit on it because every dog is different. How much you spoil them or how much that dog likes to argue with you is another factor. But hey, put in the time, you get a beautiful dog. Okay? I get a phone call from a gentleman, and I've had phone calls like this frequently in my past, where they call me up and they say, I only want you to train my dog to do one thing, and there's just one behavioral problem, I want you to come to the house and fix it. And whether it's surfing, jumping on the countertops, or whatever it is, jumping on everybody who comes through the door, excessive barking. And they tell me they're not interested in like sit, down, stay, no obedience. Well, that's fine. Well, my next question is for that person calling me is, does your dog do a sit, down, stay? Does your dog listen to you and not just do it for 3 seconds? Does the dog do it for 3 to 5 minutes? Whatever your time frame is, does the dog totally respect the obedience part of it? And they say, well, I'm not interested in that. So my first reply to these people is, number one, don't tell me what to do, because I've been doing this for a long time, a lot longer than you. And number two, if I'm going to work with you, I want you to understand something, and this is very logical. The dog, if you see, just like raising a child, if you tell your kid brush their teeth and they argue, go to sleep, they argue, let's get somewhere to school on time, they argue. But you call a therapist to the house and say, hey, I want my kid to get straight A's. Can you work with them on just mental focus and study on their material? I just want them to do their homework. That's all I care about. They can do whatever the hell they want. Just do your homework. Well, it's got to be understood that if the child doesn't respect anything that you ever say to them, then how are they ever going to listen to you when you say that one thing, do your homework? It's just an example. So you brought the therapist to teach the kid to do that one thing, and that's to study hard. But the kid has no respect in any other category. How's this going to work? It's illogical. And so this is what I tell these people that call me up. And if they don't get the logic, I just hang up the phone. I mean, that's just a delusional human. We're not going to go anywhere with that person. You have to be logical and say, yeah, that's true. Like if a kid does not respect me, so it's a lifestyle change along with me fixing the behavior. That dog parent needs to be very consistent in saying you need to do a downstay. So it's very similar to the previous topic in the sense that you have to be able to get this respect out of the person and you have to get respect out of the animal. You have to demand this respect. None of this is going to come into play if you're always just petting the dog and just saying, oh, you're so sweet, and oh, isn't that cute, they knocked me over, and you start laughing. So you're encouraging the behavior. And this has to be pointed out because this is really a big problem with a lot of people raising their animals. They're just say, I'm willing to kind of walk on eggshells over here, but not over there. Now, if you're always going to walk on eggshells, be prepared for some really bad habits that could come. And we don't know what those habits may be. You get very dangerous. We really don't know where this is going. Okay, so bad habits forming from a dog because you're walking on eggshells around that dog lead us to the next topic. So there was recently a case where 3 pit bulls attacked and amputated, I believe a lady in Iowa amputated her legs. She was outside, I supposedly putting up some like Christmas tree lights, doing something. And the 3 pit bulls attacked her. The police had to come by. They kept yelling at the dogs to stop. They wouldn't, so they had to shoot the dogs. All right, so obviously she's losing blood. She's going to die, so they had to kill the dogs. And I hear these stories about, particularly in pit bulls, and there's other breeds as well. But what brought the dog to that? And so we go back and we go, and I hear all these rumors on the internet. Pit bulls are just that way. It's an enzyme in their brain. It's something that triggers. It's an unpredictable outcome. Total BS. Okay, it's the BS I've ever heard. I watch these dogs. They show their teeth. They ignore the owner. They growl and hold a stick, and you can't take it from them. They sometimes will be near someone else, and you tell them to move off the bed. That always seems to be one of the cases. And they growl, and you can't move them off the bed. So you start having to ask yourself, did you see it? Of course you saw it. You created a dangerous animal. You created an animal that is, number one, spoiled, going back to the first topic of this evening, and then going back into where do they do after that? Well, now you started picking and choosing your favorites. Well, as long as the dog doesn't do this, I can live with the other problems the dog's doing. So eventually this lady, I'm sure, is outside. She's got 3 pit bulls. Doesn't matter what the breeds are. If you get 3 dogs together, 2 as friends, 3 as politics. And then you have a third wheel in the middle. You'll get 2 dogs playing off the one dog and rotating that for attention and pack order. So 2 dogs will try to rule the pack and form a pack. If the third one doesn't agree, the jealousy starts within those 3 and it rotates. Who's going to be the third wheel? Then the owner steps in and says, don't do something. So most likely, I'm guessing what happened when this lady got attacked by 3 pit bulls is she's probably was frustrated at some point, getting up and down the ladder, putting up the Christmas tree lights, and told the dogs off, start jumping on that. And when she really started getting upset, losing her temper, because now she's picking and choosing when something's serious that finally makes her angry enough to insist that the pit bulls listen to her. So she probably started shouting at the pit bull, you don't do that, you don't do that. It's not the shouting, guys. Okay. It has to do with a lot the fact that the woman can't control 3 pit bulls. Okay. That's number one. So if she can't have control of them, who is? And they know that. The pit bull knows that she probably doesn't have the physical strength. Even though she's shouting at them, don't do it. They're laughing. And then that laughing turns into, don't you tell me what to do. And they start biting each other, or she started screaming at them, and then they started coming after her. It only takes one of the 3 dogs to start nipping at her leg, and the other ones get involved because it becomes a pack psychology of competition, who's going to dominate her. So they all start dominating her, and it becomes just a, shit fest at that point. So most likely, this is what I'm guessing happened in the psychology of it. I remember years ago, I went out to visit a lady, and she had a hole through her lip and her cheek. You could see her teeth, literally, that it was such a big tear. The pit bull did it to her and did the same thing to her mother. And she's making excuses for the dog. I mean, I was ready to walk out of the house and not take the client. I mean, good luck. She still was making excuses. There's these delusional humans that are so emotional. And I asked her what was going on, and sure enough, the dog was growling near the sofa or bed, particular places the dog liked. The dog made the rules. The mom didn't make the rules. Two bleeding heart ladies. Oh my God, my poor baby. Don't own them, ladies. Don't own them. You can't handle it if they intimidate you, and you're going to listen to all this crap about how your friends told you don't ever yell at them and don't ever be the boss. Okay, don't handle it, because Vinny, I had to get tough with him at times, and now he's great. He used to be a dog that would bite other dogs, and the owner, I repeated this story many times, the one that had him at the LA shelter that was breaking him up from attacking another dog, eventually attacked his leg, the competition, the ear infection he had, whatever it was. Bottom line is, if you don't make excuses, I challenged Vinny directly. I'm not afraid of you. And now he's a gentle animal. He's very gentle. He's calm around my kids. He does wonderful. Okay. If he sees my mom, he's not jumping up on her. If I tell him off the bed, you come with me. He doesn't argue with me anymore. He just comes. He's being a wonderful dog. But that came through strength, where I don't put up with the shit. Right. And they're not humans where you can say, I'm not giving you a car. I'm not sending you to college. I'm not letting you go on vacation. I'm shutting you down. They're dogs. So again, you'd have to talk to me about how we go through the training and the steps. The dogs always love you, and the psychology that I've always gone through with people. People tend to look for an excuse to not take that step in dedication in the dog training techniques that will work. When I tell them what will work, their brain fights me, because they're saying, well, people told me this, I don't give a shit what people told you. Okay? Fuck them. You listen to me. I've been doing this for many years. Don't tell me how to train a dog. I will tell you what to do. And then they will see the results. And it gets really old when you get these people that finally, they come to realize they've got to start listening to someone who knows what they're doing. So if you get like this, the little clicker training, you're going to be off at one of the little local malls, and the guys play and give food. It's the kids following the gelato truck again. They don't give a shit about who's driving the truck, and they don't care about rules. They don't care about homework. I just want my gelato. In this Pavlovian theory, I'll click, and then you get a little cookie. You click and get a cookie. Is this a freaking circus act where I put them all on podiums? They hand up one paw, stand on three paws. They all bark and howl at the same time. The audience claps. That's a trained routine. That's an environment that the animals are being trained. It's a pattern, again, that they're learning. If the objects are in their mind, the pattern of what stool to jump on from the next one. That's not real life. Real life is you're going through the airport. The real life is you're sitting here at a cafe like I am with Vinny now. Someone else walks by with a barking dog. Vinny doesn't do anything, because there's nothing to pattern. It's random events throughout life. So you have to understand that random events is when a dog's thinking and saying, I understand and respect my owner. Yeah. So always make sure you understand these random events. Stay. When Vinny's out in the field with me, he sees a lot that people walk their dogs, and the dog stops walking, wants to sniff or just lay down and rest. And Vinny's always asking me, hey, Papa, why do people stop? Right? The dog needs to keep going. We're walking, right? So here's what you need to do. You need to keep your speedy rhythm, keep the dog going up with you. Don't let them stop. Already the human brain, especially today's society, when are they going to have fun? The fun word's back. Okay. I don't give a shit about the fun right now. I ask the dog to walk with me. Okay. When I decide to have fun with them, I'll tell them, go play, and they will go play. But I don't break my rhythm of walk, and you don't turn and face the dog every time they stop you. If I always turn and face the dog and they go, come on, and I start going, put my hands and come on, honey, I'm no longer the leader. I will constantly have a dog that will fight me on everything else. Going back to the theory that if they're going to disrespect me on the walk speed, they're going to disrespect me when they're jumping on someone. They're going to disrespect me when they're fighting somebody. It's an all or nothing when you train dogs. Do you understand that? All or nothing. There are no cut corners. You're not going into a competition. You're going something more severe than a competition. Again, is a predictable environment. You're going in and out of cones. You're saying, come, retrieve, walk around me, sit, give me eye contact, whatever the competition, it's a rally. That's a pattern that they've learned. Real world is more difficult. You've got buses going by, you're on sidewalks, people have lunging, barking dogs, you have screaming brat kids on their scooters, and they're trying to smack your dog on the nose while they pass your dog, bicycles. That's all unpredictable. A real trained dog needs to know how to deal with that, so they need to learn how to think. Most important is they learn how to think. We're not trying to create robot dogs. So to answer your question about dogs that don't want to walk with you, don't turn and face them and beg them. You slap your thigh and tell them heel, and you tug that leash, but don't hold it tight enough and choke them. Just tug, 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 tug. Get them to follow you. If you're going to drag them, then get them on some grass so they don't tear up their paws. Make a move. Okay? That's my tip. Always keep your dog busy in the house doing commands. So I always take Vinny around and make him move and move and move with me. And even dogs that I'll train, I'll take them into my home and they're going to follow me around. I'm not going to allow the dogs to just walk away and sit while I do something on the computer. I'll make them come next to my left leg, do a sit, a perfect down next to me. Don't move for about 20 minutes. I'm going to get up. I'm going to go to the kitchen. You are going to follow me perfectly next to my leg. If they move a little bit, no, you follow me. If I'm going to the laundry, if I'm going to the garage, I'm going to go in the car, you follow me. I make sure these dogs learn every detail of work that they need to know to be able to feel like they have a job. And I'm being a perfectionist. I want them to be constantly working on perfection, because when I do that, I'm not making them miserable. I'm making the brain exhausted. Little Vinny here, his brain is getting tired because like, Dad's always making me do this and this and this. Then I get a very peaceful, relaxed dog around the house. When it does come time where you want to watch a movie with the dog or with the family, you have a dog that just wants to cuddle. They're calm. They're not jumping on people as they come through the door. They feel like they had to be responsible animals and listen to authority. It all begins with lifestyle. So the lifestyle of always go around. People say it's time consuming to strap the dog to you. Invest the time. A lot of dog ownership isn't for people because they have really low standards what they want a dog to do, but they're telling the dog what kind of personality they want the dog to have. And when the dog doesn't meet that personality expectation, they give up on them. They want to get rid of them. They're just tired of them. So best advice is bring your dog around with you in the house. It's a down, it's a stay, it's an eye contact, back up. You want the dog to let me wait for the food ball. You want to open the door so you don't go out the door. Okay, now come out the door. Always be demanding to the dog and then throw the ball and let them to go outside and have fun. Okay, that's what I can tell you is the best advice. Thank you for watching Espresso with Vinny. Vinny and I can be always found on Spotify podcasts, Espresso with Vinny, it's under the Dog Father category, and you can see us on Rumble. And of course, we put in short clips everywhere else on some of the other social media sites. Take care until another time. Thank you so much. And we're going to keep going with our podcast, keep educating people on how to be great dogs. He really loves espresso. It's real stuff. Okay, cheers. Arrivederci, ciao.